Good morning, or afternoon, I don't know when this video is going up. Matthew Jacobson for Arena Football Talk, and I want to talk about what I've been noticing as a worrying trend among indoor football teams, because it started off as talking about the Duke City Gladiators, which I do want to talk about very briefly to start. On October 16th, 2024, the Indoor Football League announced that on October 30th, the schedule would drop. However, in a little blurb at the end of this press release, they do mention that the Frisco Fighters and the Duke City Gladiators were going dormant for the 2025 season, but did both plan to come back for the 2026 season. I've covered indoor football since 2019. I've seen plenty of teams say they're coming back and not. However, on January 9th, Duke City officially got new ownership. They also announced they're going to be undergoing a rebrand, so they're no longer going to be the Duke City Gladiators. Whether or not that means they're going to change the Duke City aspect, or they're going to change the Gladiators' identity, no idea yet. However, with that move, I do believe the Gladiators will return in 2026. Frisco Fighters, I hope so. We will wait and see. But while doing research for that Duke City video that I scrapped, I saw this little blurb on Yahoo Sports that the average attendance from pre-pandemic to post-pandemic had gone from around 4,000 to 6,000 to 24 to 2,800. And while the pandemic was hard on everyone, a lot of other sports and teams have since bounced back attendance-wise. There was one change that Duke City did make. Before the pandemic, they were playing in an arena that could hold 11,000, and post-pandemic, they moved into an arena that held about 6,000. And they're not the only team that has done this. For example, the Massachusetts Pirates, who previously were playing in an arena that held between 12 and 14,000, have recently moved into an arena that holds between 65 and 8,000 for most events. Wrestling, it can get 10,000, that's a whole different setup. And looking at the IFL as a whole, out of 14 teams, only 5 are playing in an arena that can host 10,000 or more fans. Those being the Iowa Barnstormers, the Jacksonville Sharks, Arizona Rattlers, Tulsa Oilers, and Bay Area Panthers. I'm noticing an overarching trend where more of these teams are going into smaller arenas, and this already niche sport is kind of being pushed more and more into the niches, and there's a couple of possible reasons for it. It could be low attendance, it could be the buildings themselves are not wanting to negotiate. We recently had the Sioux Falls Storm, who announced that they had to go dormant for 2025 because reportedly they did not even receive an offer for renewal from their building. However, there is one more possibility that is equally worrying to me, and that's that these IFL teams potentially could be eroding relationships with building management and with buildings, forcing them into smaller buildings. I do hope that is not the case. However, it's equally as likely a possibility as the arenas not seeing IFL as a viable product and choosing to not renew. On a more positive note, recently the IFL Championship has gone from Henderson, Nevada, which holds about 6,000 people, to Tucson, Arizona for the next 3 years, and that venue could hold 9,000. So at the very least, the biggest game of the year, they're trying to put in a larger building. Hopefully they will also put more press and put more effort into marketing that IFL Championship game. Only time will tell. I do hope they focus on that because I do want the IFL game to be a big, successful game. And I am hoping for Duke City, Frisco, and Sioux Falls to all be back in the IFL in 2026 and playing in good arenas. However, I did notice that trend, and for me, it's just slightly worrying. Because when you take a niche product and keep trying to make it more and more niche, you get the modern-day comic book industry, where almost no one lives near a comic shop and almost nobody's buying comic books. This is definitely a different thing, but I think that's overall a decent comparison that I hope they don't end up doing, because I was a Rattlers fan who went to my first games around 2012, and seeing how packed Footprint Center was, even all the way up until the Rattlers left Footprint Center, how it was consistently about 10,000 or more people. Arena/indoor football can and does work. You saw it in the 90s. Obviously, I saw it in person in the 2010s and even leading into the 2020s. It definitely works. It works in markets that have other sports teams like Arizona, and it works in markets that don't have a whole lot of other sports like Iowa. I'm just hoping that over time attendance goes up. I'm hoping that over time the IFL gets more eyeballs and more attention on them. I'm hoping this league continues to grow and these teams can start going back into arenas that can hold 10,000+ fans, because I've seen it. It does work. It can happen. I'm just really hoping it has nothing to do with how the league and the teams are operated, and I'm hoping it's just a rough patch that the sport will eventually find its way through. Anyway, for all things indoor football league, stay right here for Arena Football Talk. I'm Matthew Jacobson, signing out.